It is Tuesday morning, time for coffee with Kristin and Tina. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee with Kristin and Tina. We're your hosts. I'm Tina Prigge, Vagabond Creative Studio, and this, I wasn't sure which way to point because I'm on the opposite side today. This is Kristin. This is Kristin Odell of KLO LLC.
This is Tina. And our technology is not behaving, so we don't know which way our hands are supposed to go today.
We finally had it figured out which way to point and to gesture, but now it's kind of switched around. So, yeah. This felt good, though. This kind of feels natural.
I feel very bad.
Yeah. It's a challenge, right? So good morning. It is so good to see everyone this morning. You know, it's kind of fun because we've got a few things to follow up on. Kristin, last week I showed you a picture of teak with a whole tray of kolaches that my mom had made. And we talked about this treat. And look at what you sent me this week.
I know. We were talking about this last night, and I'm like, I have to send that to Tina right now. So this was our homeschool group from last year. I do have permission from all of their parents to share this picture. But these are all the big kids. And look at all of those delicious kolaches.
Look, okay, so I see there's some jam. Is that cherry jam or strawberry jam?
Yep. So there is, those are raspberry.
Oh, yum.
And then, so I'm looking at the pan all the way on the left. So raspberry, apple, cheese, and lemon.
Mm. And
then the second pan in kind of towards the front, some of those are cheese with Nutella and some of those are cheese with raspberry. And I think some of the ones in the back might be lemon with cheese. And then the pan all the way over to the right, some of those are just cheese and then some of those are just Nutella.
Oh, that's Nutella. I was thinking that was prunes.
No prunes for the kiddos.
And so do they like?
Go ahead.
Oh, is that like a cream cheese when you say cheese?
Yeah, so it's eggs and eggs and cream cheese and vanilla. And there might be a couple of other things in there, but yeah, you spoon it into there and then it kind of sets up in the kolache dough. And then I was thinking about this. Your mom did not have this little topping on them, but we mixed together powdered sugar and flour and some butter, and then we kind of make a crumble. And so that's what you see on the top of those is a little bit of that crumble on them.
Yeah, that makes it almost like a little pie, like a little individual pie.
Right.
So if you're looking at this tray, Kristin, which one are you grabbing to eat first?
I really like the raspberry cheese or just cheese or lemon.
Yeah, this morning I think I would grab a lemon one.
Yeah, I like the tartness of the lemon because, you know, the dough it's a sweet dough and the crumble has a sweetness to it because of the powdered sugar. So I love like the tartness of the raspberry or the lemon probably.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I do love fruit with them.
Yeah, Doug loves the apple. He's like an apple pie, apple fritter kind of guy. So.
Yep, I totally get that. Well, that looks great. I wish we could actually taste it here, but I guess that's one drawback of virtual is we can't taste or smell something.
That's true. That is true. But the girls were looking at that picture last night and they were like, oh, we should make them again. They were so good. And I did find online where they have like a little wooden circular thing with a handle and you can, it's like a pastry press to press them out. We hand did them, but this is hand doing.
Oh, wow. Look at how consistent they are. Kristin, you guys are good.
Kids, I mean, this was like one of our homeschool projects. We did like a project with yeast and then they had to actually make the dough and we did like scientific method on the yeast project to see, you know, which one they thought what combinations of things would produce the most gas or, you know, and it was really fun. It was a great day.
What a great way to learn and understand the science of baking by like not only studying it, but then actually applying it right away. That's brilliant.
Yes, and the adults involved all benefited. All the families got to take home like 12 kolaches. So like everybody is winning when that happens.
It's true, because when you make a batch of kolaches, you don't make just one or two, right? You make a whole tray full at least.
Absolutely. Like you must have enough to eat that day and at least the next day.
Hey, speaking of following up on conversations, last week we were talking about Mary Hamachek, who is a complete shapeshifter when it comes to costumes. She can just completely inhabit another form. And we were talking about how she's going to be doing this live statue at Sputnik Fest. Well, she shared some pictures, and I just have to share this with the viewers. This is a costume. This is not a real statue. This is like a living human person that looks like a statue.
This like is so amazing to me. So first of all, Mary is a master of costumes, like she's just so talented at all costumes. But this, like, it is really, really incredible.
Isn't it spooky too? I mean, wouldn't it kind of freak you out if you turned around and that was standing right next to you?
It is like, it is a little bit spooky. It's like intriguing. There's so much detail. Her eyes like eat through me.
I think she mentioned that she might have special contacts in.
Oh, there you go. Oh, she's on with us. Good morning, Mary. Yeah, maybe. Mary, do you have special contacts? Do you wear special?
Good morning, Mary. Yeah, and let's see. I think she sent me a close-up too. So I think so. I definitely think those are special contacts. But look at that. I mean, the hair, it looks like it's rock. I mean, you would truly believe it was rock.
Yeah, it's just so interesting. And she says, yes, I do. There we go, folks. She does wear contacts. So anyway, Mary is going to be at Sputnik Fest with this costume next weekend, right? This coming weekend?
Yep, this coming Saturday. So check out for it. And any Doctor Who fans, this might remind you of like the statues where you're not supposed to look away. Otherwise, they keep sneaking up closer and closer. That's what it reminds me of when I see this.
Yeah. And I've seen them. I've seen street performers down in like Florida and Las Vegas on Fremont Street. And that they kind of do that. Like if you walk by and you don't pay attention to them, they will kind of like do funny things or pose funny in pictures and that kind of stuff. So
yeah. So if you're at Sputnik Fest and if you get photos with Mary in costume, send them to us in advance and then we can share them during the show. That would be super cool.
Yes, that is so cool.
And then there was one more conversation that we followed up on. Kristin, you crack me up because last week we were talking about a car, like what kind of vehicle would be the best vehicle to have if you're like a girl like me and you want to self-sufficiently have a kayak and just, on a whim, take your kayak and go have a meeting in the lake or something, right? So what kind of vehicle is that?
You want to be an independent woman with her kayak.
So Kristin found these, I think, hilarious pictures. Let me just see if I can pull them up.
They started very normal with what was like every all-wheel drive vehicle, I would say, right?
I didn't even upload that because that was right. You like totally found like great solutions, but then
it just kind of went off the rails. So
it's a unicycle.
It's a unicycle pulling the kayak on rollerblades.
Like, what? Oh my gosh, it's on rollerblades. That is so clever, so creative.
You didn't even notice the rollerblades? It literally says in the...
Oh, that's hilarious. I didn't even read it.
So I like to think by looking, I mean, first of all, let's just talk about the talent it takes to ride a unicycle.
Right.
But we're using the rollerblades. We're like using things we have around the garage. We're being smart. The handle he's holding is just the regular handle to hold
the kayak.
So the only thing I would say is I suspect that this is an inflatable kayak.
I think so too.
And so for that reason, you might get away with this a little bit easier just because I think it would be a lighter weight than a normal one.
Although this almost seems more dangerous to do, like if it was just the hard shelled regular kayak, if you went over a bump or got scraped a little bit, not a big deal. But like when it's the blow up kayak, I would kind of worry about exposing it to whatever you pedal over.
Right. My other question about this is like, is the guy biking with him or is the guy next to him so intrigued he had to talk to him about his setup?
We could imagine the story.
Right? Okay, so I think you have a few more options.
Okay, so then what about this one? My son would love it if I got this car. He's like a big fan of these, retro, like cool cars.
So, I mean, you guys do have a Jeep that the top comes off of. So I realize that this is a situation where you'd have to like trade vehicles with Jason maybe. But I think this again is a very viable option. I imagine trying to like, you'd have to lift it up to like get it in there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then, depending on how nice your car was, you wouldn't necessarily want, lake drippings or river drippings or whatever, going right into your nice seats. And I guess you'd have to be careful too. Like if you suddenly decided to go through a drive-through with this situation, you couldn't forget that you have that sticking so high up.
You might have to do a walkthrough. I feel like this individual is not concerned about lake water in his car.
I agree. Yeah, I think you're right.
But I mean, and also safety first, the kayak's in the back seat. It's not in the front seat.
And is it strapped or is that just the oar that I see?
Ooh, I think that's the oar. I don't know that the oar would actually stay there unless it's like, it might be snapped onto the front of the kayak. So again, another completely, I do appreciate that this one says the best way to transport a kayak.
So needless to say, I haven't settled on an option yet. I don't really have unicycle riding skills, but I can see what I can do about that.
Yeah. I mean, you do have a bike. I've seen you ride a bike, so I know that you're capable of riding a bicycle.
That's true.
Do you have any various things that have wheels in your garage?
Yes. But the thing is, I don't really live close enough to any place that I'd be pedaling to.
That's not true. You live close to the Manitowoc River.
Yeah, but not. Ah, that's true. No, that's true. Actually, there would be an access point down there.
Totally. My dear cousin Nicola is on, and she says they put the kayaks in the golf cart up north. I've seen it happen. It can be done.
So Nicole, do you not have very far to go? Like, I mean, that seems like a perfect solution if you're like at the cabin and you just have to like go around the block to get to the lake or something.
That's kind of what it is. It's like a city block or two.
But I'm thinking about like Two Rivers, for example, has a whole trail map of all these different kayak points, right, on the East and West Twin Rivers. Right. I would love to be able to go there, but I know I'm not going to pedal with a kayak there. I'd be exhausted by the time I got there.
You have to paddle via the Manitowoc River out to Lake Michigan, up to the Twin River, and then back down the river.
Maybe this will happen. So let's talk about, Kristin, let's talk about what's happening here. At first, I thought you sent me a picture of a flaming beverage, but now I see that's not what's happening.
I mean, it could be a flaming beverage. For the record, this is Doug's. This is Doug's Old Fashioned with very nice color for any of you Old Fashioned aficionados. But we had the joy of going up to the UP with some of our dear friends for the weekend. We towed our camper up there. So this is our camper set up on their land, and enjoyed many, many hours in front of this fire and just relaxing and visiting, and the kids running around, and just literally not any other people or cars in sight.
It's awesome. It's such a serious fire pit too, like the size of the ring and like the height of the stack of those rocks. And I love too how the table is just a stump. Yep. It's just so natural. And look at, there's one by each chair. That's brilliant.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Just very relaxing and peaceful, and their dog's butt is in this picture. That's Maggie.
Okay. I was going to ask if that was the back of Doug's head with that in his drink, but thank you for clarifying.
Doug is not quite that great. But yes, it was so good. So.
Oh, that sounds awesome. The kids enjoyed it too? Or was it just an adult getaway?
No, there was lots of kiddos there, and they just ran and ran and ran and played, and it's just so easy when there's a good group of kids. They just run and take it all in, and so it was a relaxing weekend for everybody.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Well, welcome back.
Doug took that shot, so I mean, I have to give him photography credit for that. I did not take that picture, but Tina, if you go back and watch it live and like hold it down, I don't think you probably can do it in the show, but on your phone, I know you'll be able to. The flames like dance in the live version, so.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. That's very cool. And it's impressive that even in like sort of this rustic scenario that you were able to muddle and make an old fashioned.
Oh, I mean, I feel like that's something that you can do anywhere. True Wisconsinites always find a way.
Just like your hat says, Wisconsin born and raised.
I know. I'm totally in ghetto gym mode today. Can you guys tell? I have no makeup on. I have my hat on because my hair is all kinds of crazy.
This is when you watch Coffee with Kristin and Tina, you never know what you're going to get. You have to tune in because it'll be a surprise, right?
That's right.
Raisa said, what about a hitch and haul? So this is going back to the kayak conversation. And I do think that that's a seriously good solution.
What's
that? Would be, I mean, I don't know exactly, but I'm imagining it means if you have like a hitch on the back of your vehicle and some sort of little trailer.
Sure.
Which, from my perspective, would probably work because it would be low enough for me to load and unload.
Right. How do you feel about towing something with your car? Because for some people, that's where it kind of gets wonky, is like they don't want to tow something behind their vehicle.
Yeah, I wouldn't like to have to like park in busy traffic or go long distances, but like just to get to the lake or the river.
Oh, she said it's a rack that goes in the hitch.
Oh, yeah, I like that idea. I like that idea a lot. Yes, no towing. Okay, so it goes on your hitch, but it's one of those racks that's like right on the back of the car, I think.
Yeah.
I think I've seen what you're talking about. That is a great idea.
We did just get something like that goes in the hitch for our bikes, and it works awesome. So maybe there's options. I did see some pictures of various things, but they all seem far too practical and normal. And so I really wanted to give you some more creative options.
The thing with the hitch and haul, does the kayak stand upright like this? Or is it like this? Like, do you know what I mean? Do you have to be careful of ends sticking out on each side of the car?
I do wonder about that. Maybe there's one that like you slide the kayak in. I'm going to go like this. Here's the back of the car. You like slide the kayak in, and then once it's in position, it like tips up. Might still not be drive-through worthy. Like you might not be able to go through the drive-through, but it might be a good option. Also,
and I could handle that. I could handle not going through a drive-through while towing a kayak. I could live that life.
I mean, it just requires you to park your vehicle and walk in, I think.
Right.
Did you guys get to kites on the lakeshore this weekend?
No, you know what? We drove there yesterday, but it was already done yesterday. It was on Saturday and Sunday. I don't know what I was thinking, but we had a really nice drive anyway.
Sure.
But I did get to spend lots of time with my parents and my grandma. My mom and I went out to West of the Lake Gardens. It wasn't a sunny day, but it was a beautiful day. And I just had to stop and think, it is amazing, like the amount of flowers. Every flower that you see there is replanted every year. It's not a perennial that comes back. It is an annual. Right. So these gardens are so well tended. And I just had to stop for a second and think, look at where we live. So there were all these beautiful flowers with this amazing lake. There's even a tiny little sailboat that you can see out there. Ooh. It was just such a cool moment.
I do. I love the little bubbles like trickling down the water fountain too. Was there moms out at the gardens yet? Like, are they transitioning to fall yet, or did it still feel fairly summer?
It still felt really summer. There was still a lot of begonias and all of that type of flower, sure. Zinnias, things like that, and it was gorgeous.
Sure. Very
and
nice.
I don't know, do they transition to mums or do they close the garden for the season? I don't know.
I thought the gardens were open year round.
Oh, are they?
Do you want to know what? I have a Google machine right in front of me. We can solve this problem right now on the show.
Oh, this is why I love Kristin. She's just a total problem solver. Oh, where are you? There you are.
Oh, I'm here.
Kristin.
Can you see me? Do I look like I'm talking to you, but I'm not totally talking to you and paying attention because I'm also looking at other things?
Well, while you're looking that up, I have to tell you some very exciting news. We played some cribbage this weekend in 2 separate games. I had a 24-point hand. That never happens.
That's amazing.
I know.
Holy cow. I'm impressed. It says on the West of Lake Gardens sign, gardens are open 10 to 5, weather permitting. And so I'm going to take that as they are open year round.
Huh. Well, I wonder what's there then, like in the winter if you went. Or maybe winter is considered not permitting. Well, now my curiosity is piqued. I would love to see if they had mums and fall varietals planted.
You have to check it out. Okay, so how many games of cribbage did you play total? Was this like
let's see.
Play all day kind of?
No, I think we only played 3 or 4 games. We played some other games too, like Farkle and stuff like that. But yeah, and one of the games was a skunk, nearly a double skunk. So
whoa. For you, against you, or with your viciousness? For me.
I was on fire, I guess.
Wow, way to go. That's awesome. Who was the poor sap on the other side of that board?
Well, in the game we were talking about, I was playing my dad. He's definitely not a poor sap. The cut almost always lands in his favor, and he's pretty darn good at cribbage. So it is a sweet victory if I'm able to win a game on him.
Yeah, good for you. How fun for you to take some time out with your mom and dad to do that kind of stuff. That's really great.
Thanks. Yeah, and my dad's getting a new cribbage board now. I don't know if it's because he got burned so bad on this last one. No.
A dear friend of my mom and dad's would always, if the cards were not good, whether they were playing sheephead or they were playing cribbage or whatever, he would throw the deck out and get a new deck out. So I have another.
I mean, like toss it aside, or literally like throw this deck away?
He would pitch it. If he didn't like what was happening, he would pitch it. Because I mean, like, I don't know if you can still do this, but you used to be able to go to the casinos and get decks of cards for like 25 cents or 50 cents or whatever. So I think he would just have decks on hand, and if it was not a good deck, then the deck had to go.
Wow, that is commitment.
Yeah.
Speaking of sheep's head, my brother is in Germany right now, and they took a train, and on the train they got some gift bags, and the gift bags had a deck of sheep's head cards for each of the people. I said, really? Specifically sheep's head? He said, yep, it started with the 7s and it went through. Right. So I thought that was interesting that literally we have that game from our like German ancestors that brought it here.
Absolutely. I don't know that I've ever made the connection between that being like an Eastern European game.
I mean, I knew it came from the relatives, at least here, but yeah, it's interesting to know that it exists across the sea.
It came from the relatives.
All right, I have one last challenge for you, Kristin. Now, Kristin has not seen this before. I didn't talk about this with Kristin at all. So here we go. This is my good friend, Tina Kugler. She is in LA living her best life. Anyway, this is at the LA Breakfast Club. Do you have any idea what that first line says under the Breakfast Club's famous cryptogram?
I don't.
Viewers, does anybody know what this says? I'll read the first line. FVNEM. FVNEM. And I'm just going to leave you with that, and we can bring it up again later if we want. Does it sound like a question? FVNEM. Speaking of our like ancestors from the old country. FVNEM. It's a breakfast club. FVNEM. Okay, here. I'll just tell you what the answer to that. So the first line says FVNEM, and then the response is SVFM. FVNEM? S, VFM. You'll have to ask the girls, see if they can figure it out. We'll visit it next week, but let us know in the chat if you have any ideas of what
You're
that's
gonna
asking.
make me wait?
What?
Actually, that makes me think of what's the game? There's a game that you have to do that. Mad Gab. Mad Gab is. Have you ever seen that before?
Mm-hmm.
It has, I don't know if it's pictures or words, but it'll have, you know, different words and pictures together, and you have to say them out loud, and then your teammates have to try to guess what you're saying. I don't know if it's technically a cryptogram, but
interesting.
it's very much like that. Yeah, I have the game for a team building activity. I bought it years ago to do for team building activities. Like at work, when I worked full time, we would play like once a month, and it's so funny. Oh,
maybe next week you could bring a card or two onto the show.
I will. There, Kayla says she loves Mad Gab. Thanks, Kayla. I love Mad Gab too. It's really funny.
Kayla, if you love Mad Gab, do you have any idea what the Breakfast Club sign says?
Yes. What was it again? FVNEM?
FVNEM? FVNEM? S. VFM? FVNEX? S. VFX? Oh, I see. VFM and X. No idea?
I love the accent which you put on the words. Like.
All right, stay tuned till next week. We'll just leave you with this image if you can figure it out. Oh, I see. VFMNX. I already mucked it up.
Say it without the accent. You have to have the accent on in order to be able to say it. That's so funny.
I do think the accent is kind of important to understand why it's written that way, but more next time. Well, thanks everybody for joining us this morning. You have been watching Coffee with Kristin and Tina. We're so delighted to see you, and we'll look forward to next time. Take care, everyone.